An AEW star was reportedly backstage at WWE recently. What does that mean? Also, we're talking about a new AEW signing, and yes, we got plenty more. It's coming up in today's video. Timestamps in the description down below. If you were wondering what's going on with Robert Roode, guys, we finally have an update for you. Finally, it feels like for a minute we have been waiting and waiting to see what is going on with him. Well, now it turns out, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, that Robert Roode is still expected to be out quite some time, and this is due to an injury. Now, we have known that Robert Roode has been away from WWE television for a while, so obviously this shouldn't be a shocker, but you really have to wonder, what is Robert Roode's role in WWE when he does return? A lot has changed since the last time we've seen him on WWE television. No, like really, that's like a legitimate thing. We haven't seen Robert Roode under Triple H's main roster run. And that's a very big question mark. It's not like Robert Roode is one of the young guys in the locker room coming up. Now, I don't think being older in wrestling is actually a bad thing. I think he's a great veteran. I think he's very knowledgeable. I think he's going to be very useful. And to be honest, this is not the early 90s. This is not the 80s, the 60s, the 70s. You know, like this is a whole different era in pro wrestling. So Robert Roode, some people might say he's on the tail end of his career. I don't want to say that. But what I want to say is that maybe Robert Roode shouldn't be expected for a main event push. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if WWE wants to utilize Robert Roode, they definitely can. If they want to give him some mid-card championship gold on the main roster, I think they can do that. But ultimately, I think WWE's plan might be to actually use him to elevate other talent. And if they decide to do that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I am curious to see what WWE would do with Robert Roode in the future. Maybe there could be a future as a producer, as an agent, as a coach in NXT at the Performance Center. I'm very intrigued to see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated once we get more. But as of right now, he is expected to be away for some time. With that being said, guys, what about WWE launching a new show? Well, this could be a little bit of growing confidence for those who are intrigued by WWE's, television rights, because according to WrestleVotes, WWE and USA are working on a new kids trivia show. The idea is for kids to compete against WWE superstars, and the show is titled, as of now, WWE Tall vs. Small. Silly name, but let's keep it going. There's no word on when the show will debut, but basically WWE is looking at having a trivia show on USA Network, and this is something that USA Network also wants. And guess what, guys? If you're looking at television rights, if you're looking at TV negotiations, and you're looking at everything that WWE currently does for NBC Universal, you have to look at this as a good thing. Maybe USA and NBC in general will just continue to work with WWE. Obviously WWE has the deal going on with the UFC merger and Endeavor, but to me, this shows me that USA is still very confident in having WWE still involved in a much larger capacity. So now, not only is WWE getting another show, but this gives WWE a chance to reach some of that younger demographic. Now, I don't know if the kids demographic is the one I'd be thinking of when it comes to attracting paying consumers, obviously, but you have to wonder what the play is here. And anytime WWE or AEW gets a new show, as you guys know, if you watch this channel, I talk about how it's a good thing. It's just more confidence in the fact that the TV deal is going strong, TV negotiations are going strong, plus USA Network has Raw and NXT. I'm curious to know if maybe NBC Universal tries to bring in SmackDown as well after the contract expires with Fox. These are things that I'm definitely thinking of. These are things I'm definitely conscious of, but only time will tell. Now, here's the thing. WWE doing this on USA Network is an interesting choice. I feel like something like this would probably be better suited for like a Nickelodeon or a Disney. USA, to me, I don't feel like has a lot of children content, if that makes sense. Their content is not necessarily designed for younger audiences. So it's going to be interesting to see what the long-term play is here. But ultimately, it's a good idea for WWE to have more content, more shows. This is stuff that I've been saying AEW is doing a good job with reality TV and whatnot. Plus, USA Network has Ms. and Mrs. There's just so many great things happening for wrestling right now. It just goes to show you how healthy the industry is. So ultimately, this is a good move. Guys, Andrade was reportedly backstage at WWE WrestleMania 39, and obviously this would make sense considering his wife, Charlotte Flair, was working the event in an incredible match against Rhea Ripley. This was confirmed by Conan on the Keeping It 100 podcast. He says he saw Andrade backstage, and obviously, you know how people get on social media, on Twitter, on YouTube, and Discord. People are like, oh my God, Andrade was backstage at WWE WrestleMania. He's for sure coming back to WWE. And I don't think this is one of those things that guarantees for sure that Andrade is coming back to WWE. I think that's the real thing here, right? It's his wife. You should expect to see this type of stuff. We saw Malachi Black was on the red carpet with Zelina Vega for the Hall of Fame. This type of stuff makes sense. Keep in mind, Buddy Murphy was also sitting next to Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley at the Hall of Fame. These are things that you should expect when you have relationships between individuals in both companies. So it's not necessarily a shocker, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Andrade is headed back to WWE. Now, on the flip side of that argument, though, I do want to point out, because I think this is important to point out, while there has been no confirmation that Andrade is headed to WWE or Andrade wants to be in WWE or anything like that, you do have to wonder if those wrestlers who have a relationship with somebody outside of WWE, if that is enough to bring people back into the WWE. So Rhea Ripley, we talked about with Buddy Murphy, aka Buddy Matthews. We talked about that yesterday. These are things that you just got to pay attention to. I feel like if you're constantly on the road traveling together and you're both in the same profession, it does make a lot of sense to work with your significant other. I can see that very well playing a role into certain people going back into WWE. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I don't want to speculate and say that Andrade, I don't think he's headed back to WWE as of now. Obviously, as we get more details and stuff, I'll keep you guys updated, but this is one to definitely watch out for because he is not on TV in AEW. And that's a big mistake. Guys, Commander fought against Jay White on Dynamite. Yeah. Tony Khan has announced that Commander signed to AEW. This is obviously a good signing, but we still have the same concerns as we did in September 2021. If you guys were watching my channel back then, we were talking about how big the roster was getting. Now look at the AEW roster today. It continues to get bigger and bigger and better. They're making some key signings in 2023. We saw Jay White just a few weeks ago. Now it's Commander. They fought against each other. A lot of people are criticizing this. I'm not going to criticize it. If you follow me on Twitter, I actually posted a long tweet explaining why I thought it made sense and why I enjoyed it. But with that being said, what are we going to do with Commander that makes him feel different? What are we going to do with Jay White that makes him feel like a massive signing? What are we going to do with all of these names that we have? And it goes back to what I've been saying about a brand split. AEW needs to do a brand split. We know they're working on it for Collision. We need a whole restructure of this company. Fundamentally, there are tons of issues. I feel like last night was a big miss. It was their worst episode in the last 9 weeks, clearly. Some really good stories are taking shape. Some really big questionable decisions are being made. Commander versus Orange Cassidy. That's what I would set up. If I'm fantasy booking this, I set up Commander versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship. And I would actually have Commander win the belt. I think that right there would be a really good thing. The International Championship feels like a way bigger deal and a way better title than the TNT Championship. Regardless of who's holding it, Orange Cassidy has been booked really good as International Champion. If you're going to want to have somebody take the belt off of him, why not have Commander do it? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.